What it do, Blessed Hey Crew? And today, I am going to be giving y'all a testimony of how God delivered me from jail. So, I need y'all to not approach this with a judgmental heart and understand, I messed up. That's my part. But I wasn't wrong because basically I was provoked to anger. Not only was I provoked to anger, but my lover was also provoked to anger. And so I'm going to tell y'all how it went down. And y'all going to see at the end of this how the Lord used something that was meant for evil to turn into good. Okay. And how God was on my side, as always, because I'm his prophet. So I want to let y'all know that I have PTSD, first off. I was abused as a child, and I was also sexually abused as a child, okay? Now, I do deal with seizures, and I recently found out I have heart palpitations. And my seizures stem off of my PTSD. So, when I was a little girl, and I'm telling y'all this prior to, the testimony, so y'all can understand where I'm coming from. When I was a little girl, I almost got into a fight with a little girl, whatever. And it was so bad to the point I almost broke her arm and put her in the hospital. And like, my grandmama told me, she was like, Jakara, you can't be fighting people because you can mess around and really hurt somebody. And I can't, pay their hospital bills. So, ever since then, I try not to put my hands on people, and I try not to fight people because I know that I'm capable of actually taking them up out of here. Okay, so yeah, that's that. Now, my mother-in-law decided she wanted to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, wake me and Bay up, talking about some clean this, clean that, as if I hadn't been cleaning around the house, which I had. I had been taking out the trash, cleaning the dishes. I even had bought soap, since she was getting on Bay to buy the soap and stuff like that. And she come talking about, Jakara, I want you to clean this whole refrigerator, and I want you to clean the walls and all of this other stuff. Basically treating me like I'm her maid, like I'm her servant girl or something. And, the whole thing for me is that I had just lost her grandchild, the ectopic pregnancy that I told y'all about. So, that's number one where she's wrong, treating me like that after I lost her grandchild. And, the second thing was Bay got upset because he was provoked to anger at this point. Now, prior to this event happening, I told my baby father to come and get Timothy because stuff was getting tense, like to the point where, Miss Mayante didn't want my son in her house anymore. And as I explained to her, my son didn't want to be in her house, so that's why he was disrespecting her house. And as much as I tried to discipline him the right way, he did not heed to it, okay? So, because he wanted to be with his dad, which is understandable, because he can't really move around in Miss Mayante's house. The way that they had me have to have him, I always have to keep my eye on him, and stuff like that, which is understandable. But, it just got to the point where he had to be secluded to a couch because, they didn't want him moving around the house without him being in my sight. So when I was trying to get him ready, he started fighting me, and I clicked out. I ended up hurting my child, because she had already got on to me, talking about my people, used to punch the crap out of their kids and all this other stuff, and, you don't discipline him good enough. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I need to discipline my child. She already provoked me to anger, so I clicked out, and I ended up hurting my baby. And, it's not easy for me to admit this, but I'm wrong. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, I also have PTSD. That's why I tell people you don't provoke somebody to whoop their child when they have PTSD, because they can end up hurting their child. All right, so anyways, I ended up having to call the police because you know, my baby father called her flashing out, and you know, I tried to explain to my baby father, you know, it's just that Timothy didn't want to be in the house. But before I can explain it to him, when I handed Timothy off to him, you know, he wanted to call me a dirty B word. So, you know, I flashed out with him too. Like, I'm like, well, dog, you won't even let me explain to you, you know, the stuff that's going on. And it wasn't nothing bad or anything like that, you know, to set the record straight. It was just me trying to tell him, hey, you know, I need you to get Timothy, because it's getting to a point he's really disrespecting Miss M's house and stuff like that. And he gets mad at me and says, well, you're going back to them and da-da-da-da-da. But it's like, you don't understand. Every time I let you back in my life, you abused me and you disappointed me and Timothy. I always tell you, like, every time you discard us for these whores, you know, the situation gets bad every single time you put us in danger. So now, you know, the situation is this. Basically, Miss Mayante ends up telling the police I, you know, abused my child and all this other stuff. And I had to sit in jail for like 2 weeks for nothing, because, you know, the parish decided that they just didn't want to call me on the day that, you know, the judge wanted to see me, which was March 10th. Now, mind you, this is how God turns this into a blessing. I'm in jail. I'm turned, yo. Like, we having fun. I had fun. I played Uno. I had met my coworker that I used to work with, you know, and I'm ministering to her. And, you know, then I ended up meeting Deshae 100K. And, you know, I told her about my ministry and, you know, stuff like that. I shared with her my music that I wrote, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, it was fun. Like, one night we was so turned that the guards had to come and shut it down, okay? Line SO for free all y'all, right? But anyways, I had a blast, and, you know, I'll never forget it. And I definitely left my impact in there. And, you know, Lulu, OG Casey, and Tyra, they were making sure that I ate and stuff like that in there, because I didn't have commissary. Now let's get to the judge though, because we had 7 minutes in the video. I go before the court for Judge Kimball, and you know, I talked to Judge Kimball. She's, you know, made aware of what's going on. The public defender talks to her, lets her know I had PTSD and stuff like that. And, you know, they had decided, they said, okay, well, we're going to need some more time to decide on the situation, because we want to make sure that you're good and that the baby is good, and, you know, where the baby is going to be at and stuff like that. And so, you know, they told me, they was like, your mental health matters and all of that other good stuff. So, you know, I go back to the jail, all of that, come back the next day, you know, to see Commissioner Robinson. And Commissioner Robinson was just like, so what happened with the seeing the judge and stuff on March 10th? And I told her what happened. She was like, you didn't try to reach out? And I said no. And I said I did try to reach out, but I got no reply. And so Commissioner Robinson, she said, you know what, I apologize for having you sit in jail for 2 weeks for no reason. And you know, she said it is going to be a protective order, you know, for you and your son, but it's only temporary. And she was like, I don't know how they expect for you to take care of a baby when you can't even take care of yourself. And I wanted to cry, because I had asked God, I said, Lord, please get me out on an ROR bond. And Judge Robinson, she was just like, I'm going to release you on an ROR. You don't got to pay nothing to get out. And I just started crying in front of the judge. Like, I just started praising God when I had got in the van to go back to jail. And they released me. And so, you know, God had grace on the situation. People really needed me to minister in that jail. So he was with me through it all. I just want to praise the Lord, you know. I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad mom. I just clicked out on my child.